Hey, what is up? What's going on? Wanted to jump on here. There we go. Wanted to jump on here and just share a little bit, just as far as just what's on my heart, some different things that I'm seeing regarding students and families. So I'm just going to jump right in. I'm learning to be just more and more just very direct with my communication style and all of that. And basically, there are so many students and families because as long as you have a student who is a minor, it is a whole family situation. And I am just seeing so many students that really are just not prepared. They are very underprepared when it comes to not only graduating from high school and going to college, but just even in the lower grades. As we know, well, you may not know, if you're not in education or really dealing with it directly, but the illiteracy rate when it comes to being able to read, when it comes to being able to spell, when it comes to being able to utilize a computer and having great social skills, these things are very much lacking. However, these are things that are very much needed in today's society when it comes to being able to know how to talk to people, how to conduct yourself in public settings, how to take care of business, how to pay bills, how to be able to just act on field trips, things like that. I have been on field trips with eighth grade students who did not know how to conduct themselves, okay? And they were definitely of age. So the social skills, the mannerability, there are so many different things that I am continuing to see both socially and academically that is just very much highly alarming. And I definitely know that it goes beyond the school system, that it goes beyond the teachers. I believe that they are included and definitely are a part of it, but definitely the families, the parents are a part of it as well. And this is something that we really need to be focused in on as a society because our children, our youth, not only are they our future, right? But they are very much our now. And it is so important that we pay attention to what is going on with them and very much how we can help. Again, I'm seeing so many who are not prepared academically. They are not prepared socially. When you talk to them, I'll talk to different seniors. I'll ask them, what is it that you want to do after high school? What is your goal? What is your plan? Half of them do not know. Okay? They don't know, or there is such a level of apathy that I am seeing. And of course, this is not everywhere, but I do believe that it is in many places and spaces, which is why I am addressing it publicly to really call our attention to it and also just some different solutions to this also. Because again, our youth, they are our future, but they are very much our present. There are teachers that are resigning due to what is happening in the classroom. There are people who no longer want to come to work. It is very frustrating. It is very irritating to be in these different classrooms and these different academic settings with different things that are occurring and going on. And so this is an area of correction. Okay. Anytime you have students who are being violent in the classroom. They have no plan for their future and they're getting ready to graduate high school. Anytime you have this lack of participation amongst the parents, that is an issue. And yes, we know that there's definitely a lot of trauma happening, a lot of trauma that has occurred in both the parents' life and also the different students' life. But at the same time, we have to be able to intentionally and very actively address it in very healthy ways. And there are so many resources that are actually available out here, healthy resources that are available to help families, to help parents, and to help students. But the thing is who will be responsible for making sure that these resources and these tools are being utilized? Because we have a lot of resources that are out here that people are just not taking advantage of, where you are really not seeing the level and the amount of growth that is needed to really what's the word I'm looking for? not maintain, but really to see a major impact. I'll say that because I know what I'm personally seeing in the different schools that I am working in. Even when it comes to different people in my family as well. Just overall, it's just a different time. But I also want to be encouraging again and to let us know and remind us that there are different resources that are available. And so just getting to the solutions, it starts at the foundational level. It starts with the family. It starts within the home. It starts with being a stable and a safe environment and space and person for our youth, very much so. If you have undergone different trauma, and a lot of times we are just not being honest with ourselves as adults to say and admit that we need the help. Anytime you go through different illnesses, divorce, going through grief and death and different things like that, these different traumatic experiences, poverty in and of itself is a traumatic experience, and you are not receiving help, you are not going to therapy for that. I'm here to tell you, you need therapy for that, sis. You need therapy for that, bro. Like, seriously, because not only are you affected, but your family is affected, your youth are affected, your children are affected. And there's nothing wrong with going to therapy, receiving the help that you need so you can be strong, so you can be supportive, so you can be safe, so you can be stable for your youth, for your child, for your relatives, for your family. Because again, it's at that foundational, at that family level where that breakdown is really starting at, is where we see the occurrence at. And also being able to work with and support our youth when it comes to early discovery, early exploration. This is not something that is just for the schools, for the teacher to do. Again, it starts at home and it should continue in the school setting with the teachers, with the principals, right? But when it comes to career exploration, when it comes to what it is you want to do, who it is you want to be, what is your personality like? What type of learner are you? What are you passionate about? All of these things start in the home, and they start from the womb on up. Kindergarten, first grade, elementary school, middle school, and high school. And when you build upon that foundation, brick by brick, like that, it will help you and your student to be able to have an idea of how they were built, how they were made, God's purpose, his unique purpose, well, I say unique calling for their lives, in order to be successful and live out what is for them, not for you, but for them. And so it is important to take note of that. So by the time they get to high school, that plan is already in place. Things are being confirmed and finalized, okay? We'll always be in a constant state of discovery and exploration. However, if you are in the 12th grade and you have no idea what it is you want to do, and of course you won't have it all mapped out, but if you have the levels of apathy with that, you have the lack of desire to explore, you have no idea what is going on, you're confused, you're baffled, all of that, you have all of this trauma in you to where you cannot even think straight, that is a problem. And I'm continuing to see that problem. And again, this is a whole team effort that starts at home. It rolls over into the school with the administration, being able to have great and strong structure, academic integrity, and all of that, just to make sure that we are giving our youth what it is they need to be a strong present and future. And this is not something to take lightly. It's also not something to do spiritual bypassing of. And I'm not trying to, I'm big in ministry. I've been in ministry since 2004. So hear me when I say this. It takes prayer and action. It takes Jesus, deliverance, therapy, academics. It takes it all, okay? So I want to say that because a lot of times we can do a spiritual cop out, and that is because we really don't want to put in the work, which a lot of times is apologizing to our youth, repenting to our youth, making sure that as adults you get the help that you need so you can be the example for them so they can be healthy, strong, supported, and stable. And so it is just very important that as adults, and you've heard me talk about this before, that we begin to take our stand. Yes, absolutely, pray and cover our youth, so needed. I do it often, prayer walks, prayer drives, all of that. However, and alongside of that, along with that, there is more that needs to be done. And the time is now in order to do it. We see crazy things on the news, on TV, with students, with teachers, all of that. Half of these things could have been averted. One, if people were praying and just being on watch as the spiritual leaders of their homes, really discipling and doing all of that, and also getting the psychological help that both you need as an adult and also your child needs. These things, nothing is random. I'm going to say that again. Nothing is random. These are all different consequences of open doors, open demonic doors, open doors of trauma, things that have not been addressed, things that have been swept under the rug. And it is just time that we deal with all of these things. If you know that you desire a healthy present and future, a safe society, a stable society, even though I know we're dealing with a lot of things right now, still, there are actions that we can and should be taking. And so I just wanted to jump on and just encourage us with that, to live on purpose, to be honest, to be integral, to be intentional, to be aware, to be hopeful, to be at peace, but also to have that level of tension and frustration of not liking what it is that we are seeing, and not just sitting back and talking about it, gossiping about it, but doing something about it, confronting wickedness, confronting error, confronting wrong things, getting help that is needed for both you and for those that you know, not being afraid to recommend it, not being afraid to suggest it, and just being very intentional about who we say that we are and what it is that we say that we want. There are so many people that just do a lot of talking, but there are so many people that do not keep their word at all. And in this season, and just overall, it's absolutely necessary that you keep your word. Don't just speak just to be talking. Don't speak aimlessly, but do what it is that you said that you were going to do. Be very intentional about your life, about your health, and also about the youth around you. Okay, and so I just wanted to jump on here and share that because it's very necessary. And I work in context, and I see in context of it. So none of this is made up because I see it. But I also know that there is hope. I also know that there are solutions because I actually help plan them. I actually help create them. I help introduce people to them. But this is something that we must really grab hold to and take heed of and get to moving on. Get to moving on it, okay? So I wanted to jump on here and encourage us with that. So make sure, share this video with like 5 people or tag people in it. You know, because it's one thing just to say, oh, Ashley, hey, that's a good word, that's good. But share with someone who needs to see it. Share with someone who needs to know, who needs to be more intentional, or just needs to be, excuse me, encouraged in them participating in this work. Because there are people like me and others who are very active in the work. So send this to them as encouragement. But let's get to it. We have work that needs to be done, and it needs to be done now because our youth are very much under attack. Our families are very much under attack. Our marriages are very much under attack. Our relationships are very much under attack. God has a will, a way, a plan, and a purpose for all of these areas, and we tend to forget that. But I'm here to remind you to confirm and affirm that God does. And doing things God's way is not only beneficial, but it is effective, it is powerful, and it is helpful for us personally, our families, our communities, our society, our school, our education, our academics, all of that. Okay, and so I just want to make that known. There is support out here. There are resources out here. But we must get to work, and we must do it now. Blessings.